Hi, my name is Nashirwan, and today I will be presenting my final video presentation for the English 105 final project. And I hope all of you are doing fine, in these challenging times, and I hope everything is going fine. So let me begin with the central argument. So the main characters that I focused on in my paper were Kurtz from Conrad's Heart of Darkness and Neil from Wallace's Good Old Neon. So my paper actually was a thorough case study that highlighted the key socio-cultural factors which played a critical role in shaping the personalities of these characters. So both these characters become trapped in a vicious web of social acceptance and recognition that drives them to the edge of humanity. And all their actions, irrespective of any moral implications, appear reasonable and justified to them in their own mind as a necessary step in achieving the highest possible social status. So they're actually both uh, looking towards that social acceptance or towards that social recognition, and the pursuit of that social acceptance and social recognition blinds them. And somewhere, either it's their actions or it's the overall uh, pace to keep up with the society and the norms and all that stuff, the pressure, they just lose all their moral balance and their moral compass, moral balance, and ethical values along the way. So the first textual evidence that I'll be quoting is from the Heart of Darkness, and the page is 152. And we know that even though imperialism played a critical role in shaping Kurt's personality, there was another factor in play, and I think this was the actual emotional trigger which made Kurtz an actual monster. Kurtz was not a very rich man, and due to his social status, the family of his fiancée disapproved of him, and it was the social pressure that played a prominent role in his decision of going to Africa in the first place. My first piece of textual evidence, as I told you, is on page 152, and it's a conversation between Marlowe and Kurtz intended when Marlowe pays her a visit in London 1 year after the death of Kurtz. So the following passage clearly supports my analysis of why Kurtz opted for the job that transformed him into a demon and an embodiment of imperialism. So the passage goes like, I had heard that her engagement with Kurtz had been disapproved by her people. He wasn't rich enough for something. And indeed, I don't know whether he had not been a pauper all his life. He had given me some reason to infer that it was his impatience of comparative poverty that drove him up there. So, as you can see, the passage gives a clear insight about what could have been the primary motivation of Kurtz for getting a job with the company in the first place. And then, when he saw what kind of perks the job came with, he made it his life's sole purpose to consume the maximum financial benefit out of it by using extreme methods of exploitation possibly known to man, in order to eliminate once and for all every social pressure that made him appear as weak and fragile in the first place. So he never wanted to feel that social humiliation again, where someone tells him that he's not socially acceptable or something. So it was that insecurity that he had inside that actually reflected on his actions in Congo, and that just heightened to another level then. So the second textual evidence that actually will support my uh, perspective and point of view regarding Neil. So it's on page 163, Good Old Neon. So here Neil is talking about the American culture and the impact it had on him while growing up. So he says that America's culture had a uniquely brutal and alienating way of brainwashing its males from an early age into all kinds of damaging beliefs and superstitions about what being a so called real man was, such as competitiveness instead of concert, winning at all costs, dominating others through intelligence or will, being strong, not showing your true emotions, depending on others seeing you as a real man in order to reassure yourself of your manhood. Now, the passage clearly states the mantra of life that Neil followed, which, in my opinion, is not so hard to correlate with people we find in our day to day lives. But the point where it becomes interesting is when this mindset forces him to challenge the boundaries of morality and decency. Each and every aspect of Neil's life was a well thought out and carefully knitted plan with false emotions and fabricated social responses. The idea of doing something even remotely irrational or silly charged Neil's brain cells with extreme fear of socially acceptable norms, urging him to never even think of doing something that could go against the social currents and, challenges his masculinity to such an extent that he forgot to live in the moment. Or one can say that he forgot to live life. So I think it's pretty much it. And in the end, I would like to mention that my title for paper was Neon Tragedy, A Glittering Tale of Darkness. And the title gives a clear synopsis of this whole paper, as neon lights, which are extremely bright and shiny on the outside, are in actuality empty and hollow from within. Thank you very much, guys.